Welcome back, everybody, to the Light Pole Podcast. The lights are on, as you can see. I'm your host, Joey. And of course, as always, we have Kyler, Wiley, Darian, and there's a fifth person here who I introduced in the next episode again, but I'll introduce him again. It's Angel. Angel, introduce yourself. He didn't say nothing. He didn't want to. Yeah.
Problems with the multiverse.
I've learned from the other episodes.
He learned from the future. Okay.
I'm just in a really bad
14.
mood from the things Darian was saying in the other episode, but it's okay.
You'll see in the next week's episode, guys.
Yeah, you have to wait a whole week to find out why Wiley is leaving the show because of Darian's comments.
It's ridiculous.
It's life.
So, Spider-Man No Way Home review. We watched the movie. Oh my goodness. We're going to go into non-spoiler review. Kyler has a timer for 5 minutes.
Let me know when to start.
Let's go right into it. Who do we want to start? Who do we want to start with? Let's start with Angel. He has a Spider-Man shirt on. All right, start the 5 minutes. 3, 2, 1.
Non-spoiler.
Really good. You know, the
Oh, I wish you would say a spoiler right there.
Yeah.
so what happens at the end is I thought it was good. The pacing was fine. I thought for
Yes.
2.5 hours it was about.
Yeah.
They did really good with fleshing everything out. The one thing I do think could have changed a little bit would have been like some of the fight scenes, because sometimes they felt a little rushed.
Okay.
Yeah, little bits in there. I would say it was actually one of my favorite movies probably ever now. I think it beats out Spider-Verse now for me in the Spider-Man categories.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it would probably be my top 3 Marvel movie. Obviously, I'll still have Infinity War up there.
Yeah.
Above it, obviously, because nothing beats out Infinity War. But I thought it was good. They did really good, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next trilogy of movies that they do with Tom Holland. He did pretty good.
True that.
Nice. Okay, cool. Darian, go for it.
Ooh, interestingly enough, I've seen a lot of people saying some similar stuff about the fight scenes and whatnot. I didn't notice it, but if that many people are saying it, it must have been, there's some validity to that. I think what most of us have seen it twice already, and I think what you said about the timing of the movie was really true. 2.5 hours flew by, and it felt like the perfect balance between a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. A Peter Parker movie in the first half, and then a Spider-Man movie in the second half. If you could see that transition, and it was like, wow, this is how you build like a movie. The villains that you see in the trailers were meant to be there. It didn't feel like pure fan service. They had a reason, and they were menacing. Like Willem Dafoe crushed it. Absolutely. I don't know anything about comic book Green Goblin, but this felt like comic book Green Goblin. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I'll let you guys go.
I'll keep it short. All right, Kyler.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of what I would think to say has been said. I think because there was so much to cover, it was a very ambitious, very big movie. So like has been said 2 times before, timing was probably a worry for a lot of people going into it, but they did a pretty good job. I have no complaints. It was fun. It was emotional, I think. There were a few scenes that got me a little like, oh, for different reasons, whether it be goosebumps or like a lump in your throat. So it was just an all-out. It was a fun movie to go to. I agree with Angel that it's probably up there with the MCU movies, in my opinion, at least. And I'm really looking forward to whatever's next.
Oh, yeah. Nice, cool, thank you. Wiley, go for it.
Awesome. I agree with a lot that was said here already. This 100% solidified Tom Holland as my favorite Spider-Man live action. Also, top 3 Marvel movies. Agree with Angel. For me, it's No Way Home, Infinity War, Civil War. My top 3.
In that order?
In that order. Endgame would be 4th. Endgame and Civil War are like interchangeable for me. They're both.
You've also always been the biggest Spider-Man fan on the podcast.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. It did so many things right. There are, I mean, obviously I'm not blind. There are a few things that could have been changed and a lot of things that could have literally from the beginning would have changed the movie entirely or not be a movie just if a few things were changed. So I can clearly see the faults, but other than that, one of my favorite movies of all time.
All right, cool. And I agree with everything that everybody had said. The pros
so spoiler time. So we'll move on to.
Are you the host? Are you the host? Can I start to meet this guy? Or can I meet this guy? No, the pros definitely weigh out the cons, which is I don't even care about the bad stuff that happened in the movie. Whatever. I went through every single emotion throughout the movie, which is, the music for many reasons. I loved it, just from beginning to end. It's just.
You know what made the movie even better?
I'm speechless because
you know what made it even better?
Unreal.
Watching it in IMAX on Thursday opening day with better fans than
it's very true.
Dolby.
Very true. Can I agree more? So how's the 5 minutes? Where's the 5 minutes at?
It just went off right now.
Awesome.
All right, then. Now we go into non-spoilers. So big warning sign here. Spoiler. Big warning.
Spoiler territory.
Let's just go for it. Free for all. Jump at it.
Andrew
Please.
and Toby were in the movie.
Oh my God.
All right.
The reveal was so.
Let's get to that.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, hold on. Before we go on to the big reveal real quick, can we just say.
Too late.
Dude,
that's the opening sentence.
The beginning of the movie, when they showed Charlie Cox as Daredevil, like not as Daredevil, but they showed him in the movie
so nonchalantly.
That was the chillest thing, the chillest reveal I've ever seen. But it was also one of the hypest.
And nobody cheered in the Dolby theater. Nobody cheered.
It was no way. Okay, so it was literally me and Danny yelling and whistling the whole time.
Yeah.
So sad.
Our theater was going crazy.
Ours in IMAX was going crazy, but
Wiley, Darian, myself, my wife, and another friend of ours all went to see it, and Jace went to see it in IMAX, opening Thursday, 6:30. There were 4 people in costume, one of whom was Captain America for some reason. But every single scene where you would expect some kind of emotional reaction, we got the entire crowd all felt in unison the same way.
Bro, scenes that we saw in the trailer months ago, people were still cheering because that's
still cheering.
Yeah.
It was
when Doc Ock lands and goes, "Hello, Peter."
Hello, Peter.
The whole theater exploded. And we knew it was going to happen.
Green Goblin,
the bomb.
Everyone freaked out.
Before the pumpkin bomb even like showed up, you hear like the little landing of it, like it's bouncing on the floor before they actually show it. That was getting everybody pumped even before, and it was so crazy.
Yeah,
I have to go back and rewatch just because there were a few scenes where you don't hear any dialogue because the crowd is going absolutely bananas.
Which I definitely want to watch the movie again. I need to watch it again.
It was just such an experience. That's another thing. I mean, when you are experiencing a movie of that like level with a crowd that big that is also reacting that excessively, it also adds to the experience. So sometimes your view of it might get a little skewed because it's like you're just encompassing the whole thing as like one big experience. And when you get that kind of, I don't even know how to say it. It was just so amazing.
I get it.
The room was just electric.
That scene where Green Goblin comes out and like his glider and his costume is showing up and stuff. Everybody was obviously they're going bonkers.
Oh yeah, it's like, crazy.
And they're screaming, and then all of a sudden Peter's just whisked away into the basement.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. My theater actually booed because of that scene. Like they wanted to see more of that.
I think our theater was like or something like that. Like
that was an interesting tactic on their part to yank him out of that situation. And
for good reason.
So weird.
For good reason though.
Yo, Green Goblin.
Maybe the most menacing villain I've seen just yet.
Yeah, that dude works Peter in
eating those punches.
The scariest Marvel villain.
The scary thing is when you're dealing with someone who's completely unhinged and has no anchor to reality, there's nothing that you know that there's nothing that they won't do.
You know there's a
nothing
way
holding them back. So
You know, there's a
with
way
nothing
to
to lose.
tell if you're dealing with Osborn or with Green Goblin. In the
His
movies,
creepy smile that touches his ears.
the teeth.
Is it the teeth? They did it again?
They did it again in this movie. Mm-hmm.
What's
In the Raimi trilogy, or in the first one, because he wasn't in the other ones. Whenever it was Norman, his teeth were all together. But when it was
perfect,
Goblin, they were perfect.
Prosthetics.
He wore prosthetics. But whenever it was Goblin, he had a gap, and it was like a little more crooked and stuff like that.
It was his normal teeth.
It was his normal teeth. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
That's how it is. Yeah.
So in the movies, you can tell
Never fix your teeth. I mean, there you go.
if it was
Wow.
Norman in control or the Goblin in control, and they did it again in this movie.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the entire first portion, it was crooked with a gap.
I didn't notice. I didn't look at that. I don't know if it was like that in this movie.
The scene. So I kept watching it for like the scene where he was legit at
In Feast.
at Feast. He was normal, and when he was like
Oh, so
yelling.
he wasn't.
Peter.
He wasn't pulling like a
No,
con
because-
on her?
Later
No, 'cause
he was. Yeah.
he said he was watching behind Norman's eyes
Mhm.
the whole
Oh,
time.
that's right. He did say that. He did.
When
Okay.
he hit him with the web with the Spidey sense,
That's when he changed.
he changed. You can when he smiled, you see the gap.
Can we talk about that Spidey sense? How beautiful it was.
Bro, I
Oh, I
love
wanted to
That
bring
was the
that up.
most-
I
dude.
love this iteration of it. I love it. I love
with
it. I
the
love it.
with the hair and stuff like that on
What-
his arm or
what-
what?
No,
just in
no.
general,
No,
the way,
just the
way
fact
he
that-
was like everything was
Out of
muffled,
focus.
Out of
Oh,
focus.
okay.
Yeah.
The
It was
whole
like
theater
everything just like-
silent.
It was like,
Yeah,
Peter,
dude. It was like
Peter.
everyone was like, "What? What is he like?"
right? Like, what is he feeling?
Actually, I thought that scene was him sensing Toby and Andrew. That's what I thought.
I thought it was
Can
Lizard.
you
Didn't even cross my
imagine
mind.
that? Can you imagine that?
If they each like sensed each other,
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Holy
that would have been
I thought
dope.
that's what it was.
It just like pans into like the crowd, and you just see like Tobey Maguire like.
That hadn't even
Oh my
crossed my
God.
mind.
That would
That
have
When
been
was-
wild.
Andrew came out, I wasn't. I mean, I was one of the big proponents of Toby and Andrew are both going to be in this movie. We've been saying that for months now.
Yeah.
But I forgot about it during the movie, and when they're doing that scene and Ned is opening it, still didn't even cross my mind until he turned around and you see the eyes. Our theater exploded when they saw
Like,
those eyes.
Absolutely. And
that.
then
It's crazy. It's crazy
hit,
how
like, a second explosion when
When
he took the mask
mask-
off and you see the face.
it's like you already knew it was him, and then you
Yeah.
still get excited seeing him again.
I'm getting goose pimples right now as we speak. Each one a memory of its own.
so good.
goose pimples.
Yeah,
And then even
goosebumps.
better. I mean, obviously, when they open it next, it's not going to be Tom Holland. You know, it's going to be
No.
Tobey Maguire.
Got to keep trying till you find the right Peter. Like,
When
Oh
they
my
when they
goodness.
like put his face in shadow for the when the portal opened,
uh,
and you're like, oh my god, it's him, and then he steps out and it just explodes all over again.
I'm
And
telling
if you
you.
watch it, Toby gives the crowd a moment to clap. He
Mhm.
Yeah.
literally looks at the grandma and smiles. It's like when a new character enters the sitcom.
Yeah.
He's like,
You know, when they were directing, they were like, okay, so right now the
Applause
audience is going
here.
to be like pissing
Going-
themselves.
Yeah.
So we just gotta don't say anything because it's just gonna be lost. It's a waste of time. And then
I almost peed myself screaming like that.
Oh
when
my
I saw
God.
him,
oh my
dude.
goodness.
I almost threw up.
So
I
I
screamed
it
so
was-
loud, I almost threw up. I literally almost.
so
I was like,
It was crazy, bro.
so I was
I
saying,
actually, dude, when I saw Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man running towards the portal,
Mhm.
it's really funny because my brain was just forgetting everything, I guess, and I forgot what that Andrew's Spider-Man suit looked like. So when I saw him running towards the screen, I just thought it was Tom Holland. He pops out of the portal, and I'm just like, "Oh, wait a second, it's him!" And I was just glaring.
yeah.
I was like, "Whoa!"
Just start clapping with everyone.
oh god, it's just such an amazing feeling. Holy cow!
so I was saying it
And then
was just a real
that-
shame that we couldn't have Stan Lee in this movie to see
man.
all three Spider-Men.
Tell them what your theory was.
Oh yeah, my
How you
theory.
thought Stanley should have
Oh,
shown
that
up.
killed me.
My theory,
Oh my
I feel like
God.
my theory should have been like when Ned is doing the Find Peter Parker. I think in between Andrew and Toby, it should have been Stanley come out as a Peter Parker, but as like an old Peter Parker from a different
in like
universe.
a wheelchair with the suit.
Yeah,
Something.
and it would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Man.
That would have been a great cameo. And then he's like, it's just some old guy, and then they like close the portal. Yeah.
So I think Doc Ock was amazing. I mean, Alfred Molina, we knew he was going to crush it. Green Goblin was great. I was surprised Electro had that much screen time and purpose for being there as well. Sandman was okay, but for me, Sandman and Lizard fall into the category of being there to be there. That's what it felt like to me. But the other three were great.
Question. Actually, I just realized there was a second thing. Did they ever explain why Jamie Foxx got that makeover? Because they mentioned it, but they never gave any reason to it. No.
Well, imagine the CGI put into him.
No,
being,
I'm fine with it. I don't mind. Jamie Foxx is a good-looking dude, man. Whatever.
Maybe the new electricity in that universe maybe just brought him back together.
No, they just kept making references. Like they're like, "What'd you get, a makeover?" Because last time I saw you had a comb over or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like,
glasses and freaking teeth.
Him as Max
real question.
looked different.
This is something that Ken brought up to me.
Yeah.
How was Electro?
He didn't
in this
know.
movie?
He didn't know Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to answer it?
No idea.
I
Don't know.
Felt like finishing my question.
Yep. I knew you were going to.
Here's another thing.
A lot of people have mentioned that, and I have no answer for it. I don't know.
So it's just a massive plot hole that nobody knows yet?
Yeah.
No, Norman Osborn.
I'm okay with it.
So Norman Osborn said there was no Oscorp. If there's no Oscorp, how did Peter Parker get bit by a radioactive spider? Who made the spider?
It's another good question.
Yeah, because we never got an origin for Tom Holland.
That's why we're getting the freshman year Spider-Man show.
Yeah, we're getting the freshman year. Now
We're
imagine
getting Spider-Man freshman year.
Peter goes to college, and this baddie in his class is Gwen Stacy. He's like, nope, gotta get away from her. And then he goes and he meets his roommate, and it's Harry Osborn. And he's like, nope, gotta get away from him. And then his professor is Kurt Connors. He's like, nope, gotta get away from him. It's like he already knows all of this. It's like,
holy cow. That would be
like, no,
good. Just
Speaking of
surrounded by all these people.
I think the ending to this movie was one of the best endings to any Marvel movie because
man, it was
to
so
wrap
like,
up such a ridiculously like complex plot in a beautiful yet like painful way of and solving all the problems. I mean, that what he did by having Doctor Strange make all of Earth forget he was Peter Parker solved the problem, but now it's like it's sad because he's alone in the world. But at the same time, it was like beautiful. Now he has a new suit. It's wintertime. It's hopeful at the same time.
It's like a fresh start, pretty much.
literally.
Exactly.
He became Spider-Man now.
Essentially.
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man almost, where he's like in his own apartment, living on his own with a homemade suit that he made himself.
We get the
like,
Tobey and like the
PS4.
Tom
Holland's version of Mr. Dickovich.
Oh yeah, rent is due at the.
Is that his name? You just came out here with the biggest flex of all time. Remembering the landlord's name for the world.
Essentially,
No, I was just gonna say. I hope. I wish.
I will mention it. Also, Nick Fury theory. So my brother mentioned this. He saw it when Peter Parker, at the very end, decided to make everybody on Earth forget Peter Parker.
Nick Fury isn't on Earth.
Parker's.
That's how you knew them.
Have a good day.
You got him.
Have a good day.
It's disgusting, bro.
I will never do IMAX again.
It's disgusting, dude.
Oh my god.
Let's try that again.
I don't want to say it no more. I'm hurt.
The Doctor Strange spell was that everyone on Earth would forget who Peter Parker was. And if we remember at the beginning of the movie, one of the interrogators in the scene said, Nick Fury's been off planet for X amount of months. So the theory is maybe Nick Fury is going to remember who Peter Parker was.
In that case, so would Captain Marvel because she's off Earth.
Hi, Peter Parker.
And she's like, yeah,
Captain
hi,
Marvel
Peter
too.
Parker. Yep.
You're right.
Now, one thing, we were talking about how there's no real reason for Electro to have been in that movie. Shouldn't
what's
his face? Topher Grace popped up as Venom?
I was wondering too.
He straight up knew that, like 100%.
But
that's who that was.
They didn't pull everyone because remember there were still a lot of people that were being held back. It was before he contained it. A few slipped through.
Also, on the subject of Topher Grace, they fixed the Venom problem, which we've been discussing, by leaving a small symbiote, and now Tom Hardy is gone. See you later. Back to Sony. Oh,
sorry,
my God.
You did your best. But I do not.
What my God. Be. Can you imagine if the symbiote finds Topher Grace in Tom Holland's universe? Oh my God, that'd be so terrible. Amazing. I love it.
That'd be so
actually
bad.
like before the movie came out, or like I think months before, people were speculating that one of the post-credit scenes was going to be Tom Holland getting the symbiote suit.
Oh my God!
So it's like,
don't play with.
That'd be a way to start a new trilogy.
Don't play with my
heart.
That
would have been crazy if he actually got in the post-credit scene.
I didn't like the subplot of Toby getting the symbiote suit in Spider-Man 3.
Well,
no, it was terrible.
He wasn't supposed to.
It wasn't planned.
The studio forced Sam Raimi to put Venom and the symbiote in the movie.
I remember I was watching a video on how much the studio interfered with that movie.
They forced a lot into it.
It was wild.
Mm-hmm.
The only part about that I absolutely will kill someone over was him like cringily walking down the street and dancing.
Bully Maguire.
Is that what they call him?
Bully Maguire.
Yeah, Bully Maguire.
When he's doing like the
the
finger guns and dancing.
So bad.
Oh God, it's the
You gonna
worst,
cry, Gobby Jr.?
But it's so bad. But it's so funny because of how bad it is.
Yeah. Because it's obviously cringy, but he doesn't even realize how stupid he looks.
What breaks my heart is that 100% James Franco could have been in this movie if it wasn't for his misconduct.
That's true.
Harry could have been in this movie.
You saw his interview on
I didn't watch
radio
it.
show?
No, I didn't watch it.
I watched the whole thing. It was interesting.
Can we, for a moment, discuss how freaking amazing Andrew Garfield was?
Oh, he killed it.
Oh, man.
He killed it.
Oh, my God.
Dude.
I almost shed a tear when he saved MJ.
Oh, my God. That was the closest I got to crying.
I almost shed a tear. I almost shed a tear more than when I saw Aunt May die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, Aunt May died.
No, that one had me.
Oh, yeah, by the way.
She said the famous line.
I mean, there was
power.
Oh, yeah.
There was multiple times where I looked over at Darian and all I saw was tears just coming down his face.
Can we not expose me? You looked at me multiple times during the Aunt May death scene, and that's when I was crying. That's what happened.
Fair point.
That one had me in. That one was rough, dude.
But
because you had attachment to her, you didn't have attachment to the Uncle Bens from the originals.
No. They're in there for the first
rough.
act, the first like third of the movie. And then
yeah, she legit helped Peter through the whole 3 movies. So it's like,
like that was painful.
Speaking of which, I had a point earlier. I'm sorry, Kyler, real quick.
Yeah,
we talked about the ending, the way it was just beautifully done. Essentially, the ending of this movie made this whole trilogy an origin story. This literally now we get into.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's so dope. They were like all the complaints for the first 2. Is like, okay, this movie resolved all of it and made it into like, okay, this all makes sense.
It's almost like a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Where they make it, like they rewrite it.
You know what I wonder though? Because I don't know if you guys remember that time or that news that they came out with when No Way Home was still in development. Tom Holland changed the ending to the movie. I don't know if you guys remember that. He changed the ending
I think I do.
With the producer. Anyways, what I want to know is what the scrapped ending was. Does
Toby dying?
Well,
does Toby die? Does he talk to MJ and Ned like about everything?
Oh, yeah, Toby gets shanked.
Tom Holland had confirmed that they were also constantly rewriting and changing things of the movie daily while they were shooting the movie.
Interesting.
So maybe the ending had nothing to do with the original plot anyway. Like, we have no idea. So
and this
they were
is why
changing
I think
a bunch of stuff. And
originally, I think Toby was supposed to die in the script. I could be wrong, but I think he was supposed to die in the script from that stabbing. And when they saw, 1, the chemistry, but 2, we've already had tragedy in this movie. Maybe we don't hit him with a third once they actually film the scene. They were like,
a double whammy might have been a little too much.
Yeah. They might have seen it on acting.
That's heavy.
Like, okay.
You get the original Spider-Man, and then they just like
take him away.
Take him away like that. That's
exactly.
You don't got to do us like that.
Well, the thing is also they filmed multiple death scenes so that nobody knew who died in the movie until the movie was coming out and they watched it before it released.
Oh man,
That's
I would
cool.
love to see
That's
that
cool.
as like a deleted scene or like
who
an
dies,
expanded
if someone
edition
else
to see
dying.
like the individual death scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Ned death or MJ.
Tom dies right in the beginning with Green Goblin. This movie
Can you
ends.
imagine MJ dying again with Andrew?
Oh,
my
no.
god!
Oh,
my
goodness. My friend
It would have been followed by
was
a
joking
suicide
around.
scene from Andrew.
My friend was like joking around about that, and he was like, "Dude, it would be like he was saying, it would be so hilarious if Andrew didn't say."
What kind of sick friend do you have?
And I was
That'd be
like,
hilarious.
what, dude? You
Was
know,
that
like
Nick?
Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, probably.
You ain't gotta
would've
call him
killed
out.
himself
You
or
ain't gotta call
something,
him out.
dude.
Yo, he called him out by
Facts.
name. Was it Nick?
I'll
Made
send
him leave and everything.
I'll send Nick
No.
a text right now if that was him.
It's not funny.
When he watches this, he's going to come after you, Kyler.
Go ahead.
It was not
I
him.
invite it.
It was not him. No.
Oh man.
I think.
But yeah.
What else are we missing here?
Andrew's...
Miles being hinted. Well,
Black Spider-Man. Yeah.
yeah.
That was funny.
Well, this would have been the second one because we already got Donald Glover talking about his nephew.
He called and then deleted scene. He says Miles. He literally calls
Really?
him by his name. Says Miles. Miles, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Yeah. So I love the banter, especially them talking about the web fluid and their
dude,
It
just
comes
villains.
out of
comes out your body.
when they
the
were
web
doing
block.
The not even the web block, the back cracking scene
from Spider-Man
was
2.
so good.
Yeah.
When he's like,
My
"Oh, yeah,
back!"
Just like,
Yeah.
oh god, it was so good. It reminded me of my dad whenever when we were kids. He would just pick us up and do the exact same thing.
Yep.
But
And Andrew
yeah.
always talking about how like he was such like his villains sucked and he just fought like big lizards.
and
like,
Toby
no,
calls him
don't say
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
And he calls him amazing, and he says, "I love you guys."
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted him
so
to say the
wholesome.
Amazing Spider-Man so bad. They just kept saying, "No, you're."
Nah, they
amazing.
tease you, man. They got teased.
I know. I wanted him to be
Yeah.
like, "You're an amazing Spider-Man." I wanted
And
something like that.
The
That's the
Spider-Man meme.
equivalent of Cap saying Avengers,
Assemble.
I know,
Oh,
yeah.
and then
Yeah,
it cutting
you're
off.
right.
That was
Right.
so.
Oh man.
I
think-
like that banter. I just really wanted the scene where he's like they couldn't work as a team, and then he talks about the Avengers, and he's like, "Trust your tingle." I would have really liked like Toby or Andrew.
Spidey sense.
Yeah, I would have liked them to say tingle. I call it spider sense, and then finally he's like, "Oh, that's a much better word for it." Like I would have loved that instead of saying the tingle. And then they all went along with it, and I was like, "Come on, correct
So they,
the guy."
they
you
all
know?
don't have a name.
Yeah.
I don't think he would change that because Aunt May is the one that came up with that. I don't think after her dying he would change it.
Do they at any point in any of the Spider-Man movies
Say
call it a
spider
spider
sense.
sense?
I don't know. That's a good
I
question.
don't know.
I don't remember them ever actually like saying that.
Yeah, true.
I don't think so.
But I mean, it is what it is. You know
I
what
think,
it is. So whatever.
This cemented a lot of people realizing Andrew Garfield is an amazing Spider-Man that had to act in garbage. Well, I mean, some people really liked them. I didn't like them, but just not good
I enjoyed
written.
It was
Not
just
well
bad
written.
writing in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
He's a
unfortunate.
good Spider-Man. He's just
That's why they want to bring him back.
badly.
And they should.
He's just
They
so
definitely should.
wholesome.
There's
Like, you
a
can
rumor.
tell
Yes,
he
right?
he legitimately enjoys
Yes.
being Spider-Man. Like you
Yeah.
can see how much fun he has.
He knew what he was
Playing
doing,
the
though.
role.
He knew. He
Yeah.
said, "I'm gonna play the heck out of this part because it may be my last time, but if I do it well enough, they're gonna be like, you know what, come back." And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening. They want him back for future projects. So
Why? Who would?
Why wouldn't
after
they?
seeing this movie, who would see that and be like, you know, yeah, I don't need to see him again.
you know, Kevin Feige killed it off, right?
What?
Kevin
The-
Kevin Feige himself convinced Sony to stop making the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, so that later on he could use Spider-Man in Marvel.
Kevin Feige is like a living
It's-
he's a
legend.
It's-
freaking
he's a
assassin,
genius.
that guy.
It's literally
Genius.
it's literally the same as like
That is corporate espionage.
and Guardians 2 when he's like it killed me to put that tumor in her brain. Literally, that's like Kevin Feige. It killed me for you to stop making Andrew.
Right, dude.
Yo.
Oh my god.
How
Ever
awesome
since
would
that-
it be? Oh, go
Ever
ahead,
since
Angel.
that, Oh, that's sorry. I was just gonna say, ever since that rumor came out that Andrew Garfield was gonna get another Spider-Man 3, they've been saying that like this is what I actually find annoying too. Is like now they're saying, oh, Tobey Maguire is getting a Spider-Man 4 now.
No.
And it's like, dude, this guy's old already. He's not gonna play the character.
46.
Yeah, no. The Andrew ones are more legitimate.
Yeah, he's 46.
He's 46.
Really?
He knows he can't be playing Spider-Man for at 50.
Yeah. Which is why I'm glad they showed him in this movie because I really loved I think Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man as far as like the suit goes. I like the suit. So seeing that suit in like newer movies and how it looks with this new like special effects and stuff blew my mind because like
it was
so interesting.
So
you know,
good, man.
you know what I was hoping for when they were on the Statue of Liberty and they all had their masks like on the railing. I was really hoping for a
switching
switch, put on different masks by accident. wait, and they had to like take them off and like shuffle it around. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been pretty cool.
I was at one point hoping that Nightcrawler would come out on the Statue of Liberty, but then I realized.
All right, so
I know.
I'm just imagine like they make another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, and somebody makes a joke. A villain says, "Oh, look, a little spider." And he goes, "Some people call me the Amazing Spider-Man." No, I'd probably cry a little bit if he said that.
That'd be beautiful. Just a nice reference. I think all in all, my favorite thing about this movie was the fact that. 3 things. 1, it felt like Tom Holland, his character development arc reached its peak for these 3.
Because of both Spider-Man. Yeah.
Because of those 2 Spider-Men.
Spider-Mans.
Spider-Man.
It felt like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire both got their closure for their characters. You have to acknowledge it.
I'm not even talking.
It feels like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire both got their closure for their characters here in reference to MJ and Gwen Stacy and all that stuff. It was like they discussed it. You see where Tobey's character is at these days, and it was like, it's complicated. I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
I wasn't even talking, by the way. You shouldn't have muted me.
I just felt like it. I kind of scrolled over your name, was like, I will mute him too. Why not?
When they did the Spider-Man meme?
The scene when they're dude. I will say this with 100% confidence in like my opinion. The scene when they're swinging each other around, and they're just like, and they're swinging, and you see them on the Statue of Liberty when they're like landing and they're just swinging each other around with their own webs. That scene is probably iconic. 100 times better than the portal scene in Endgame for me.
Bro,
you're wrong.
For
you.
For me.
Okay. I get that.
Okay.
When he pulled, for me as well. When he pulled them with his own web, bro, I was like, that is so dope, and I feel like that deserved a bigger cheer in the theater. Like when I saw that, I was like, yo. But yeah.
Toby did his yell.
His yell.
I was like,
yeah.
Angel, I agree with you. Yeah, I enjoyed it more than Portals.
Yeah, I
got
did.
the music.
But that's as a Spider-Man.
I guess
that's as a Spider-Man fan. Like die hard.
For Spider-Man, I could see that.
For a quick second, talk about the absolute bloodlust that Tom went through when he was
that fight scene
out of Goblin.
Amazing.
Absolute.
It's the first time you see him
town.
Full on upset. His face was just mean.
Cow.
I'm telling you, Tom Holland, he acted his butt off in this movie. Like amazing.
And you know what's funny too? You know that Willem Dafoe performed all the stunts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he himself
66 years old.
That was his condition. He said, "I'll come back if I can do my own stunts." Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, sure. Are you gonna pay for your own funeral too when you die?
It's so crazy because, like, dude, he was when he was body bagging Peter in like the first fight.
Dude,
his choreography was so amazing.
Bro, this man was full force punching him, and he was laughing it off. Come on.
And then when Green Goblin just like throws Peter in the air in the hallway, he throws him in the air and he grabs him and he just slams him like 3 floors down. And I was like, dude, what in the world? This guy's just like sheer amazing. Power.
The scene when Peter jumps over him on the shield at the end and then
body slams
him to zip down and go for the punch.
Oh yeah,
I was like, the whole theater was like, oh.
Yeah. It was like a comic book Spider-Man fight.
Exactly. It's why
using
I loved
the
it so much.
environment and his like all of his different abilities, the things that he's learned and stuff. It was so good.
It was legit.
Oh man,
almost took him out with the glider again.
To probably like to wrap it up. I think my only thing was like, I hope in the next movie and I'm probably the only one maybe you guys think like this too. I hope they stop giving him so many different Spider-Man suits in each movie.
This is
I just want them to have. I want him to have one.
He made his own suit. He has no more Stark Tech.
I know. That's why I saw that and I was like, okay, maybe we'll finally calm down.
The Stark Tech forgot he's Peter.
I like that.
Sorry, I couldn't even hear myself there.
I like that the reason they gave the reasoning for each
people,
suit.
man. We're gonna have so many complaints about this next in the comments. This is ridiculous. Got 4 people speaking at once.
Anyways, that's what we're talking about. Go ahead, Wiley.
Oh my god.
I agree. There was way too many suits, and like every scene he had a different suit on. They would give a reason for why he had that suit on, like, oh, it was dirty. Yeah. So then he had the other one. He was cleaning it. Oh, he turned it inside out. Then Aunt May cleaned it finally, and then. What I didn't like was that this guy gave him back the nanotech and it created the spider or whatever, but then he did nothing with the nanotech after that. It was just there. He didn't have the arms again. He didn't do anything with it.
I've seen so much like marketing stuff with the black and gold suit. And it was literally just inside out suit.
You're right.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like you saw the wires sticking out of it in the movie. Like it wasn't an actual suit. It was literally just inside out.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
It's funny because Hot Topic came out with a sweater
that you could
like a reversible sweater where like
that's amazing.
Back part of it was the suit, the black and gold with the.
I need it. Genius.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That is.
I saw it from some kid. I was working and I saw this kid wearing it and I was like,
did you punch him in the throat and take it off of him?
Oh my
hey, dude.
We do not.
I was working, so I have to be professional.
Get this man up a podcast, yo.
If you weren't working, then that's a different story.
It's disgusting.
I don't support that.
But dude, I looked for that sweater for so long after I saw that kid have it, and I asked him where he got it. And he's like, I got it at Hot Topic. So I kept looking for it. Sold out everywhere, like immediately.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That is really cool. I like that. I personally, my favorite one, I think, is still the Stark suit from Civil War.
I agree.
I really my favorite one. But I wish we had gotten a closer view of just like a still frame of him with the new one, rather than.
I mean, I sent it.
I know, but it's still like kind of fuzzy because it's choppy. I just wish
like an official first look. Like
I wish it would have been like him like landing on a building and just like standing, so everyone gets like a clear, just front-facing shot of the suit. But I mean,
I'm just glad that he's going comic accurate now.
Mm-hmm.
All the suits are going comic accurate. I love it.
I like it.
All the suits in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I just talk about Supreme Strange.
Oh, in the end credit scene. Yeah, that was wild.
They bring in the what if to real life.
That was
imagine we see the Watcher and it's played by the dude who did the voice acting for him because he's
if they're doing this, if they're bringing him into live action, that means that anything is like fair game. Obviously, it already was because it was still canon. Yeah. But I mean, we can get like.
I mean, we said that when
skinny Steve in the Iron Man, like the Buster suit. Like anything is fair game. Like Captain Carter, all that stuff. That's wild.
Star-Lord.
Remember, we were watching What If. You were like,
"Oh no, we can't get that."
No, we can't. Me and Kyler both got excited.
Wait, bring it down.
Cut that part, please.
Dude.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I don't know.
That's just
touched on everything.
I mean, I could talk about Spider-Man.
I don't want to host
day long, but
so we'll just leave it there. We'll leave it there. Good.
Should we all give him like an overall rating? Just real quick, like number. Like
11 out of 10. That's about it. There we go.
I think I'm sitting at 9. If I gave halves, I would go 8.5, but I have to round it up to a 9.
I would have. Yeah, we don't do halves. Yeah, that's true. Because I was thinking about 8.5 too, but I'll round up instead of down because it deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Because what's up, Ren? This whole movie could have been avoided if instead of him asking for people to forget he was Spider-Man, if he had just from the beginning said, "Hey,"
if he called MIT.
With that, or he could have been like, "Hey, can you make everyone forget Mysterio ever existed?" And then literally all of his problems would be gone.
But, oh my God, Hannibal or
Hannibal Buress. He was like, "You murdered
Mysterio." I trust
You murderer.
Mysterio, you murderer.
Yeah.
I know what you did. That scene was amazing.
We didn't even. We probably been going for a while, but yeah, we didn't even mention like the stupidity of Spider-Man in this movie. There were so many things that could have been avoided. Like
It was
he's
just
good to a
super
fault in the
selfish.
sense that he locks Doctor Strange in this place when Doctor Strange was right. He was so right. Their sacrifices in the span
He
of the
agreed
multiverse.
with Strange
But he
until
did-
Aunt
he
May
did-
spoke.
Yeah, he did the Spider-Man thing where he wants to save everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's also still a kid, so
17
he's
years
making,
old or something like
yeah.
that. So.
Yeah,
he's making bad decisions and stuff like that, like
Keanu
any
Reeves.
teenager would.
I agree. I don't think he's a villain or
Oh
anything
God,
like
whatever.
One thing
Yeah.
one little thing that I've always wanted to see in this movie was how Flash was gonna be when he figured out Peter was Spider-Man.
With
And
the
I
blonde
thought that
hair.
he was gonna hate.
It was
thought
so
he
bad.
gonna hate Spider-Man.
He
after
loves it.
this thing. He liked
Oh
it.
God, it was so.
You know what I
gross.
want.
You
Call me
know
your
what I
best
want.
friend.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Angel? What number?
I'll give it a good 9. Again, one of the things I thought was the fights, like the fights with all the villains.
fair.
I thought it was kind of fast. That's why I would give it a 9. Other than that, everything else was pretty good.
I get it. It was a lot of like cutting
Too much was
to
happening,
different
and those-
shots and yeah.
Those Electro scenes could have
Oh, yeah.
made people blind. That was dangerous.
Yo, I had to close my eyes at one point. I was like,
Like my eyes were squinted during those scenes because he was just like it was just pure white screens at some point.
Is that arc reactor?
Who was it that said
All
that
right,
the
he's talking.
convenience was like a little off the rails? Like they managed to find a cure for
Oh, yeah.
every single person in this
in high school.
in a high school science lab.
You have to put, that's one of those things you have to
Yeah.
put aside that at
Yes.
Happy's house they just so
Well-
happen to have Stark Tech that can cure these guys. At the high school you can create 3 perfect cures for, superpowers.
I mean, he made the
You have to
web
just put that
fluid at
aside.
the high school.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just-
know if that
And
It's the same
Toby,
as that.
Toby already knew how to cure Goblin. Andrew had already cured Lizard once, so he already knew what to put in it. So I guess,
but to have all that stuff
have the
there at like a
stuff
high school
available.
lab, it's like,
yeah,
It's just stuff you have to accept when you're going into a
Yeah, it doesn't kill.
superhero comic
say
book
something.
movie. It's
Yep.
just you
It doesn't
accept
kill the
it.
experience.
You're so invested in the movie that you forget about these things until after you watch it a second time, or you keep thinking about it.
Don't overanalyze it. It just ruins it for
Oh.
yourself and everyone else.
I had one more complaint about this movie.
Mhm.
I did not like because we've seen multiple times where they kind of like little stuff where it kind of makes it seem like Tom is the strongest Spider-Man that we've seen. Like this man lifted a building off of himself, and he held together like a ferry moving in the water with just his web. Which
Awesome scene.
Toby did it on a train, but I'm pretty sure a boat is heavier than a train
Oh my
in the
God,
water
dude,
holding together.
the
You know what I mean?
trailer,
Probably fair.
Thinking both.
the rated R trailer. the
So-
Spider-Man trailer.
So then they did all of this,
Hey,
and
what's
it's like,
that?
okay, Tom is the strongest, but then they have Toby stopping him with the glider when Tom is like in full rage, and they show Toby kind of
uh,
like, oh, this is nothing to me. I don't know. It was like,
well,
eh,
I guess maybe the argument against that would be that Toby's had much more time to develop his strength
maybe
by this point.
yeah.
It's not
Same thing
Toby
as-
from like 2003,
Yeah, the same thing as Captain America in the first Avenger versus Captain America in Endgame.
That's true.
He's like kicking cars over and doing all this wild stuff where
Yeah,
he couldn't do any of that in the first Avenger.
that makes sense.
It's crazy to me how
Thank you.
Now I know how it feels, Angel. Now I know how it feels.
Finish
I was
whatever
just
you're
gonna-
gonna say.
I was just gonna add on.
Thank you.
I was just gonna add on to what Wiley said about that when he was holding the glider. It's just so crazy to me how angry he was to the point where he was still shoving the glider even after Toby was holding it away.
Yeah,
from
he
him.
was still like trying to. Yeah, that's true.
Like he could have stabbed him himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's a good movie. I like it.
absolutely.
Probably might watch
good
it a
movie.
third time.
Absolutely good. It gets the light pole seal of approval. Absolutely good. Bang. There you go.
Yes. That's going on this question.
And
Thank you.
I'm pulling a Darian. I keep forgetting what I was about to say. All I could say right now is Toby Spider-Man is actually 37 years old in real life.
Oh, in
Really?
life.
I thought
Yeah.
he was
Well,
like
we don't
40.
even know what year the movie takes place in.
So
That's true. That is
Yeah.
true. I don't know. You're in No Way Home takes place in.
True, you're right.
They covered
Damn.
Aunt May's grave.
My
Fair
brain.
I mean,
If it was 2021, he'd be 36 or 37.
37.
But we don't
Well,
know.
we know for a fact that it's not 2021. It's at least 20.
yeah. So he's got to be
Something.
like 40 something.
It's at,
That's also true.
I think it's 2024, 2025
At least.
because of the snap.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My brain hurts.
Anyway,
Anyways,
thank you.
oh, Kyler's got something before I finish closing, but I'll keep
Sorry.
on talking.
No,
I'll keep
that's
talking.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. So, as a consensus,
Pig
Spider-Man, if you
castration.
haven't watched it, please watch it. At this point, we spoiled the movie for you. So, if you're, I mean, you can watch if you want. But please do. Please do. Show your support. We love all y'all. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I knew it.
And now you have blown out the speakers of my
That's it.
nephews and my nieces.
Sorry. You know what? That's lights out on the Lipo podcast. I'm gonna get there.
Bye.